Slashers, I want to talk about a strategy that I use called hyper looting. Hyper looting is where you build up your storages to maximum capacity, as well as your war CC and your collectors, so that they're holding as much loot as possible at all times. The reason I do this is because I completely maxed out my Town Hall level 8 approximately 1 month ago. That includes defenses, walls, storages, so on and so forth, such that I didn't have anything to do other than upgrade my walls, or actually my troops. And during that time, there really wasn't much to do, so I decided to play around with collecting my storages. And I got into this habit where holding that much loot became an obsession, kind of like Scrooge McDuck. It's my money bin, I'm going to keep it full, and I made it a game. If you can get my loot, good for you. But you're going to have to go through my max Town Hall defenses. Now, I usually hover around Silver 1 and Gold 3, so there's a wide variety in attacks that I receive from it. Let's take a look at some of those in the defense log. Alright, I'll scroll down to the bottom, kind of get an idea of how long I've been doing this hyper looting. So at least, the very bottom one is at least 16 days of hyper looting. And if I scroll up to the second bottom one, we clearly have a fairly strong Town Hall level 9 that attacked me, King Eon. I've already got my revenge on him apparently, but he got approximately 650,000 loot, didn't quite get the 1.6 million that was available. And if we scroll up, there has been some very wide ranges of attacks. Here we have Nicoletto, who had an 11 dragon drop with 4 rages. So again, that is a Town Hall level 9. Nicoletto ended up getting 900,000 loot plus the DE. Now the DE is situated in the base where it's very hard to get. So anybody that does get them, I do give them my congratulations, because again, it's very hard to get to that DE usually. And if we scroll on up, we have some wide variety of attacks, some successful, some not. Some I gained trophies, unfortunately. I got 20 here, and here and there I got -6 and -8, and here I got 25. Now I say unfortunately when I do get trophies, because sometimes I don't get that shield, and I might be sleeping, so there could be 3 or 4 attacks in a row, my traps are gone, and it's easier to acquire that loot. But again, another Town Hall 9 here. They did not do that well with a Barch attack, relatively. But now we get into some of these people that came with very strong armies, and they were able to crack my base quite nicely. Here we have Ren, who came with a dragon drop and balloons. Oh, that was a revenge attack, so he blocked attack. Good for Ren. He got 1 million loot plus 2,000 E. And if we scroll on up, we see a couple 100,000, nothing really that great going through here. And I do believe now we're getting into this era where it was nothing but Town Hall 9s that were attacking me after Punk got a pretty decent attack on me. But that's a 500,000 loot, very strong attack. And then we get up to now what is on the top. I cannot pronounce, but that's another 1 million loot with 2,000 DE. Congratulations to them. And another Town Hop that was 700,000 loot, maybe 800,000 loot approximately. So we can see, oh, and another right after that was another 800,000 loot. And then, wow, look at this one. Gogoet's got 1 million loot on me again. So I did have this era of getting a lot of loot stolen from me from some pretty strong Town Hall 9s. And that's very hard for a Town Hall 8 to stop. But they didn't get all my loot for whatever that means. Here we go, just some wide range of attacks. Nobody's really getting all the loot, but they do have a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to steal a lot of loot. So let's just take a look really quickly at one of these attacks, and this is going to be from Naruto, and that's again a town hall. I can only imagine what's going through these people's minds when they see 1.5 million loot available. Good for them. So during my hyper looting, we can see that this attacker actually has some good strategy. Not everybody comes with a strong strategy, but this is a strong Barch strategy. A very strong Barch strategy that they use the barbs and the archers to clear a path into the base and draw the CC troops, which was very, very integral in this attack. I happened to have a dragon in the CC at that time, so to attackers who aren't as strong, they wouldn't have the foresight to take that dragon down to the corner and extinguish it. However, this attacker does do that. Let me fast forward this. Here we go, down in the corner, loop, 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 there they go. Down goes my dragon, and the attack ensues again. So the placement of that heal was actually not that great. I knew what he was trying to do, but if it was up a little bit higher, it would have been more beneficial. But most of his troops just walked through that heal to get to their final destination. He brings in more barbarians and archers. Archers do some work on my storages, but I did have the Tesla behind the storages so that they'd be able to zap whatever is attacking them at that moment. And let's see, he now essentially has nothing more than the Archer Queen and some more archers. Again, the archers in the middle at this point don't have anything attacking it. Now they're in range of the mortar, which does seem to take care of it. And then what he has left is his Archer Queen and a few of her archer minions towards the top right. The Archer Queen has a clear path, not in the line of any defenses at the moment, so she is able to get two stores rather easily. Oh, and a gold collector. And when you have those gold collectors, as well as the elixir pumps, there is often what is it, 75,000 or 100,000 additional loots that are available. So they are a prime target to attack if you're not able to strongly get into those storages, which only have 100,000 each for you. But this attack comes to an end quickly. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to get any more loot, so he ended it at approximately 780,000 loot, I'm going to call now, maybe a little less, 750. But he did leave more than half on the table and didn't get a lick of the DE. So at least from my hyper looting standpoint, that was not a successful attack. Of course, anybody who does that attack would be extremely happy to get the loot, but perhaps because of what they left on the table, there could be some disappointment in not having the right army. Going back to the hyper looting strategy, again, you keep all of your elixir or your pumps as full as possible. When they do go down, such as when you're creating troops, you can either barch attack and fill up the elixir, the storages. Like I need to get some back in my storages, and my DE is a little low for me. It's only at 77,000 at the moment, but I am preparing some war attacks, and I wasn't sure if I was going to go wipe or do a hog. In order to fill those back up, I'll just cancel what I've been making. And we got 79,000. I will show you how I oftentimes fill these storages. The first thing that I usually go to my war CC and look to see how much loot I have in there. Yes, I try to keep this as full as possible too. There have been a couple times I collected it just to fill the remaining balance, and I think that's what I'm going to do now because we're currently in war and I should be able to fill that back up so that I have maximum loot in my war CC after this war. But I guess what led to this is boredom, because there was nothing else to do. But then it kind of became an obsession because I liked seeing how different attacks were conducted onto my base. It gave me some insight onto different strategies, as well as how to set up the base so that it will defend even better. I guess I'll show one more. It was the most recent one. It wasn't necessarily great. The last few that I do have replays on weren't that great. But let's take a look at Hannah. She was flipping through the bases and came across mine. I'm sure her eyeballs are really large at approximately 1.6 million loot available. She only, a bag army, which is better than a Barch army on my base. The walls are maxed out at this level. She ran into a couple bombs right away, and she's going for all of the collectors on the bottom and the top of the base, which is a good strategy because they're more easily accessible, and the archers should be able to get them. But with only level 4 archers and barbarians, it's not very good. Now, the funny aspect of this attack is I did have a P.E.K.K.A. in the clan castle, so the P.E.K.K.A. was drawn out. It's so slow, it was unable to actually attack any of the troops. It just kind of walked around for a while. Here the wall breakers blew through the wall. The goblins came through. They did take a significant amount of collectors, but once they get to the middle, my wizard towers evaporate them rather quickly, and the attack ends. Hannah ended up with much less than I'm sure she was pleased with, considering that army in this league can probably easily get 300,000 each loot. But it was worth a shot. She did come across this great hyper looting base. That's kind of what I'm doing right now until my Town Hall 9 is complete in, let's see, 1 day and 17 hours. So I'm going to continue breaking my shield and looking at some of the attacks against my hyper looting base until I get that Town Hall 9, and I'll start using all my loot to build up that base.